Hello everyone, my name is Matt Gillick. I'm a PR assistant at BookTrib.com, the lifestyle destination for book lovers. I'm here to talk with author Adam Dunn, who has written a series of books called the More series. Their titles Rivers of Gold, The Big Dogs, and Saint Underground. Prior to writing fiction, he has had an extensive journalistic career, being featured in CNN, the BBC, and the San Francisco Chronicle. I've had a lot of fun reading the first two books and listening to the third one being Saint Underground, and I'm ecstatic that he's here. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
The More series has three titles, Rivers of Gold, The Big Dogs, and Saint Underground. So I guess my first question to you would be, why would people want to read it?
Because they're a dark, crazy story through a dark, crazy world full of dark, crazy characters having what some of my reviewers have called dark, crazy sex.
Well, since you brought that up, reviewers have called your sex scenes both dark and hilarious. What would be your response?
The sex scenes in my books are about power dynamics playing out in human relationships, which is to say they're real.
The books are set in a contemporary time, but they depict a very different New York City. You call it an alternate reality or a tech noir. Can you explain this further?
Tech noir was from Dennis Lehane when he gave a blurb to my first novel, Rivers of Gold. As for alternate reality, I would call it more of a potential reality. Because if you look around you today, we have rampant gangsterism and unchecked political corruption and embarrassing attempts to rein in both. And my book is about people who are willing to bend or even break the rules in order to save the rule book that we all have to live by. So my books are not predictions of the future so much as warnings. And I pray that I'm wrong.
One of the main characters in your book is CIA operator Everett Moore. Now, is he imaginative or is he a real person?
Everett, nicknamed Evermore, is based on a real person, actually people. And he's not CIA, he is military on loan to the CIA. Everett Moore is based on the group of people who help me research my novels that I call my technical readers. These are people who are in the professions that are actually described in the books, who keep me on the straight and narrow and well-informed. Many of them are military, some of them are special forces. Those individuals are the ones controlling airstrikes in the field. They're the ones who actually talk bombers onto the targets. In the military, they call it putting warheads on foreheads.
And you've created an arch nemesis for Moore in Book 3, Saint Underground. Who is he?
Moore's nemesis is codenamed Odin. And that is a real Army acronym, which stands for Observation, Detection, Investigation, and Neutralization. Odin is former Army Special Forces, whereas Moore is still inside the military-industrial complex. What happens when Moore and Odin meet and engage, and the sparks begin to fly, is a kind of imagined grudge match, Army versus Marine Corps, Special Forces, winner-take-all, with the prize being New York City. It gets messy.
You have a female gangster who is every bit as dangerous as the men in your dystopian world. Who is she?
My female gangster is nicknamed L.A., real name unknown, and she is the first criminal queenpin of New York City. There's never been one in city history. She is loosely based, or I should say inspired by, a historical figure named Texas Guinan, who was a vaudeville and early film star in the Prohibition era, who was bawdy and buxom and queen of the nightclub scene. I tried to imagine Texas Guinan updated for the 21st century, and instead of the bejeweled bawdy nightclub queen, I got a hard body with a belly ring. But she's every bit as smart and capable and much, much more dangerous.
Your characters do range from the very dark and dangerous to the over-the-top quirky and not a little crazy. What inspired them?
People I know. Characters from history. One in particular who I met a couple of times in New York City. I call him the Slav.
The Slav, can you tell us about him?
The Slav I saw several times, the first time being in a Greenwich Village nightclub. The man walked in at the head of a group and he just exuded menace. Everyone around him was wearing floor-length sable coats, obviously concealing weapons, but the Slav himself, he didn't need one. His head just grew right out of his shoulders. He had no neck. He had no joints. His fingers looked like shotgun barrels. The guy was a walking monolith of finality, of menace, just of terminal in every sense of the word. And the air, it just seemed to rearrange itself around him. He just was a presence, and I knew he had to be in my books.
You detail behind the scenes bad behavior on the part of the military, international finance, and various governments. Now, was this imagination, or do you have some type of insider information?
Not insider information. I have feedback from my technical readers. In fact, while I was researching my second novel, The Big Dogs, one of them warned me from doing further research on a particular military term that I was interested in. He said, Adam, don't even enter that into a Google search bar. You're going to have guys with badges and guns knocking down your door.
So can you tell us what that was?
Absolutely not.
There's a lot of weaponry in your shadow world. Now, no scene spoilers, but can you tell us about some of the outrageous weapons platforms in these books?
Most of the tech that I describe in my books is real. And in fact, I cite them by manufacturer in the acknowledgments pages at the back of each book. I'd say about 90% of it is real and on the market. The remainder, some of which was classified, I necessarily leaned on creative license. Interestingly enough, a lot of the tech that I described in the first two books, fictionally, has actually come to pass.
Your books have a lot of acronyms. There's a lot of different things standing for a lot of different things. Will readers be able to recognize so many different acronyms?
Sure. For the print and Kindle editions, there are glossaries available at the back of each book detailing all the acronyms. For the audiobook editions from Audible, readers can just go to my website, dunnbooks.com, click on the glossary tab.
Since all three books are available as audiobooks on audible.com, I guess my last question to you is there another step for the series?
I would love to see the series developed for episodic television. I think it is tailor-made for the format, and I would love to see what a David Milch or a Jonathan Steinberg or some other outrageously creative, out-of-the-box showrunner could do with the content.
All right, well, this is Matt Gillick for BookTrib.com talking with author Adam Dunn, author of Rivers of Gold, The Big Dogs, and Saint Underground. His books are available wherever books are sold, that is online and hard copy. They're also available as audiobooks on audible.com. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.